Hello, I'm Stephen Zwerling. You're about to hear a story about my involvement with a project called Project Grad. I encountered a project which was producing results in a way that many educational professionals, such as myself, hadn't anticipated. And as a result, I had to change my grant-making strategy and direction. One thing I attempted to do was to try to invite previous grantees to perhaps consider joining the new project, while at the same time persuading the grad people to expand the scope of the work in which they were involved. And along the way, I found a new and unexpected role as a grant maker. I needed to do various things to help with the scaling up effort that I hadn't anticipated, including helping GRAD establish a new national organization. I needed to find ways to help grantees who were becoming involved connect and learn from each other. I also became very active in attempting to mobilize other donors, private, corporate, and governmental. And also, it was necessary to organize and support an objective external evaluation. I hope this story will be useful to you in your own grant making, and I hope the video will serve as a springboard for you to share your own insights and experiences with colleagues on the craft of grant making.
I'm so pleased to present you this Project Grad t-shirt.
Look at what GRAD stands for.
Graduation Dreams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What Project Grad does is bring all the important elements together that educators for years have said, if we only had this, if we only had a reading program that worked, if our kids could only do mathematics, if somebody would only work with us in the community at home to deal with some of the major issues that children bring to school, and if only there was an opportunity to link with higher education. Project Grad answers all the if-onlys that many educators have had over the years. So it is quite incredible how all of those elements work together to provide one very smooth educational option for children.
Project Grad stands for Graduation Really Achieves Dreams. I went to Marshall Middle School as an administrator about, I guess it's been 11 or 12 years ago now. I had come into a real hellhole. We had fights daily, gang fights 2 to 3 times a week, and a couple of times a month we would have a major neighborhood rumble. School was really scary. And we worked hard. We worked really hard setting up policies and procedures for teachers, for kids. Teachers didn't have any emotional energy, very little physical energy. They worked hard to try to teach, but we weren't getting anywhere. We were one of the lowest performing middle schools in the district, and our high school across the street was the low performing high school in the district. When Jim Kettleson retired and took on this educational reform as his retirement goal, we came together because we had to find something. And he helped us by doing some of the legwork and the research and then bringing us programs to look at and choose among. And that's how we came up with these 5 components. The first one is the scholarships. That's really the dream builder. When the scholarship is available and you know that every child can go to college, then when you look out across your class, you say, if I do my job with every student here, they'll be in college because there's a way. Second one is a reading program, Success for All. National proven program, good results. Third, Move It Math out of the University of Houston. Communities and schools, helping students with their emotional and social needs and their families. The other side that CIS is really focusing on is family involvement. The last program is Consistency Management, Cooperative Discipline. And again, another well-proven, nationally successful program.
We use practices and programs that have already been proved and established. Obviously, having the 5 strong components and the fact that they were proven is very, very important. But now it's the behind-the-scenes activity that makes it work. We can't expect people to immediately embrace the 5 strong components, and we can't leave them to their own devices to keep working through this. They've got too many other things pulling at them. We have to be there, and so that's where an innovation is. A second innovation is the way we attack this as a feeder pattern. Everybody has to have the same attitude, using the same programs, seeing the child from kindergarten all the way through high school.
With 5 or 6 years in the program, we have some really great achievement. In our first feeder system, which consists of 7 elementary schools, middle school, feeding into Jeff Davis High School. In math, we've gone from 44% passing to 85% in the elementary schools, and 97% have passed in 5th grade. And this is important because 5th grade is the children who have had the math program from pre-K all the way through 5th grade. In reading, in elementary schools, we've gone from 63% passing to 84% passing and 89% in 5th grade. In 8th grade, we've gone from just 15% passing in 1995 to 86% passing math currently, and from 36% to 76% in reading. Before we started, approximately 175 children per year were graduating from Jeff Davis High School. Today it's over 300. We averaged about 20 kids a year going to college before we started the program, and now we have 130 per year going to college. Now remember, this is a group of children who are all low income, and we've reached these levels of achievement.
In 1991, when my predecessor left the foundation, I joined the foundation as a program officer, and my assignment was to, in effect, continue to think about how community colleges could serve to help provide more opportunity for people from low-income backgrounds. So I developed a hypothesis that you really needed to form very broad kinds of partnerships within cities who would then develop a plan of action, with community colleges playing a kind of central role in this. They were supposed to sort of develop a plan of action and then carry it out. Well, they were developing plans. You know, they had a little special project over here, or a little special project over there. Rather than sort of do something that cuts deeper and is more systemic, not a lot really was occurring on the ground in a substantial way, at scale, of a sort that was going to really contribute to closing the achievement gap in these places. A number of us here at the Foundation have been hearing about a project in Houston called Project GRAD. Project GRAD is organized in sort of feeder patterns, so it had some of the elements, obviously, that we were looking for, but it was pretty obvious no community college was in sight, and it didn't have a partnership. It didn't fit our theory of change, so to speak. So the letter came in, and we took a careful look at it in quotes and sent him a standard reject letter saying, "Sounds great, keep us informed of your progress." And he kept us informed of his progress. And I would send him a note saying, "Sounds great, keep us informed of further progress."
I think that it was in January of 1995 we made another approach to the Ford Foundation, and at that point in time they said they would come and look at the program.
I went there very skeptical. We went around to the schools, and by midday, the first day, I was starting to be pretty impressed. Something unique or special seemed to be going on here. Talked to a lot of kids, and then Jim pulled out some summaries of the data of what was actually happening, the before and after picture. And it looked pretty good. I went home, and again, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sort of staring at the ceiling. And I began to say to myself, I want to go back there. I think something's going on there that I didn't really understand. I don't even know if I'm capable of understanding, but I want to go back there and take another look. So I made a second trip about a month later on my own and began to understand more profoundly what was going on and began to slowly but surely recognize the potential power of this. I took a much closer look at the evidence that they were gathering. It was producing real evidence that it could make a difference in the lives of kids. I was beginning to realize that this might be something that could make a significant contribution to closing the academic achievement gap. In part, I was nervous. The closer I got to sensing its power, the more nervous I became, because I didn't know what to do with that. I began to become a different kind of program officer, to realize that my job was not to figure out the solution to problems, but more profoundly, to have my eyes open wide enough and my understanding sufficiently available to help identify things that contribute to the solution to problems, and then to try to figure out what I could do to be helpful to them.